Let's debunk some lies about Kamala Harris that too many people believe. There are a lot of questionable claims circulating about Kamala Harris, but I want to focus on three in particular. Did she really lock up thousands of black men for marijuana charges? Did she get appointed as the border czar by Joe Biden? And as vice president, could she really have done all the things she wants to do as president? We'll investigate each one. First, let's talk about her convictions for marijuana charges when she was the district attorney of San Francisco. The claim is that she put thousands of black men in prison for simple marijuana possession charges while she was the DA in San Francisco. But that's not true. The truth is, during her 7-year tenure as the DA in San Francisco, she convicted 1,956 people, not just black men, but people, of some sort of marijuana crime. But of those 1,956 convictions, only 45 people actually went to jail. So if you just do some basic math, it means that during her time as DA, she sent an average of less than 7 people per year to prison for marijuana crimes. In fact, the policy that Kamala Harris set was that if you were charged with just mere possession of marijuana, you wouldn't do any jail time at all. And that's confirmed by Paul Henderson, who was the lead prosecutor for narcotics under Kamala Harris. And the person in charge of misdemeanor crimes under Kamala Harris said, Kamala Harris and I disagreed on a lot of criminal justice issues, but I have to admit she was probably the most progressive prosecutor in the state at the time when it came to marijuana. So after doing 5 minutes of digging, it's clear that this claim is false. She actually sent 45 people to jail in 7 years, and she had a policy where if it was just possession, you don't do any jail time at all. The next claim is that she is the border czar in charge of immigration under Joe Biden. And I already made a separate video on this, which you could check out. It's going to be in much more detail than I'm going to go into here, but I'm going to break down the simplified story as to how this claim is not true. The truth is that Kamala Harris was never actually put in charge of immigration itself. She was put in charge of identifying the key reasons why people flee countries, 3 specific countries called the Northern Triangle, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, and why they flee those countries and come to America. That was her specific job. You can go and read the transcript yourself from the moment where Joe Biden tasks her with this job, and she specifically calls out here that she's looking forward to working with the leaders of those 3 countries. And she makes it clear that the task she has at hand is that she is going to address the reasons why people leave those countries. This term border czar was actually invented by Steve Scalise, the Republican congressman from Louisiana, and Greg Abbott, the Republican governor of Texas, pretty much trying to criticize her for not coming to visit the border when she's the border czar. But she is not the border czar. Nobody ever called her that, and Joe Biden was very specific about what was her exact task. It was not controlling the border. And after 3 years of work on her actual job, border crossings dropped from these 3 countries while they surged from other countries because she actually was able to address a lot of the root causes that cause people to leave those countries. The last claim I'm going to talk about is that Kamala Harris could have done all the things she wants to do as president as vice president, and she didn't get them done. But I think people need a basic civics lesson because it's just not true. Let's look into the Constitution for more information. Article 2, Section 1, the first line, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America, which in other words means the power to make decisions, executive decisions, is the president's, not the vice president's. She has no power to make any decisions. The vice president essentially has 2 responsibilities. The first one is to be the president of the Senate, which is found right here in Article 1, Section 3, and their job is to essentially break ties if they happen in the Senate. Something that Kamala Harris did more than any other vice president in American history. The second job is to take over if the president dies or resigns or is removed from office or anything like that. The vice president is second in line. That's found in Article 2, Section 1. But this idea that Kamala Harris as vice president had any power at all to implement any of the ideas she's pitching right now is wrong. It's just ludicrous. She's not the president. Joe Biden's the president. Can she pitch Biden ideas? Sure, but she can talk till she's blue in the face. He doesn't have to listen. She has no actual power to execute. And just as a side note, even if the president and the vice president have things they want to do, they have to get through the Congress and they have to pass these laws. And the truth is, the Congress has been one of the most divided, non-functioning Congresses in American history. So it's not like these guys could just walk in and do whatever the fuck they want. They're pretty hamstrung by a rough situation. So in the end, the verdict on this claim is obviously false. So in the end, these were 3 claims that were obviously lies that were designed to mislead people into believing a narrative that is very far from the truth. I'm going to do more in this series in the future because I think it's extremely important to focus in on debunking these lies because so many people just hear these claims and go, oh shit, and move on. They don't investigate them. We need to do better as just voters in this country investigating the truth. So I'm going to do my part in that by making more of these videos, and hopefully you guys can do your part by paying attention to them, sharing with people who need to hear it, whatever you can do to get the information that is true out there in the world, because we're getting less and less of that as time goes on.